Okay, today we're going to have a look at the whole Kriya picture. We learned Dauti, which was symbolically described as swallowing a piece of cloth, let it soak in the stomach, and then pull it out again. And Vashti was sucking up water through a bamboo tube up the anus and then expelling it again. I explained that the symbolism is reflecting or is helping illiterate people or even literate people prepare for the practice of pranayama, which is not breath control, but energy control. There are two energies, Shiva and Shakti. For Shiva, I use the color blue, and for Shakti, I use the color red. When you swallow a piece of cloth, it represents the taking in of Shiva energy that always moves from the top to the bottom, cannot reverse. Same with Shakti. Shakti always moves from the bottom to the top, cannot reverse. So it's like a highway with two lanes of traffic in the opposite direction. Swallowing the piece of cloth is Shiva in and Shakti out, while sucking up water through the anus is Shakti in and then Shiva out. What we missed last week builds on this, and it's described in Sutra 29. Then Neti is described. Neti: insert through the nasal passage a smooth thread of the length of a hand span, about 9 inches, and draw it out through the mouth. This is called Neti by the Siddhas. This one is in line with the previous two. If you do this literally, you will cause damage to very delicate tissue. Especially the sinuses are very delicate. The sutra suggests that you pull a cord or a thread through the nostril and out through the mouth. Yeah, exactly. Some people have neti pots at home. Neti pots is an accessory that many yogis have. People who take their yoga practice serious at some point find something like that online or in a shop where they sell these kind of paraphernalia. And the neti pot is often used as a ritual thing. However, the neti pot is not a ritual device, it is a medical device. And you use it only when you need it. Like with the anima that they ritually use in many fasting programs these days in the retreats. It's not healthy to use it on a ritual basis, meaning that you do it every day or so. A neti pot is like a mini teapot, and you use it when your sinuses are clogged. You put in lukewarm water with a sniff of salt, and you rinse your sinuses to free them so that you can breathe again. Only when the sinuses are clogged. So it's a medical device, not a ritual device. But what this is about has nothing to do with the sinuses or cleansing of the sinuses. There is a logic here. But you have to see this from the perspective of untrained and even uneducated people. Because this was written in a time when education barely existed. And yoga is based on mind control. You start with the body, with asana, but energy control and meditation is about mind control. Neti is designed to locate the mind for people who don't even know what the concept of mind means. So what you are doing here, let me use the color green for this. Ajna chakra is the mental body. That is where, if trained, you can practice mind control. And mind control is the basis for energy control, concentration. So Neti is nothing else than locating the mental body. Then we quickly go to the next, because then you will start to see the build-up and the logic. Sutra 31. Then Trataka is described. Look with fixed eyes without blinking. The text says winking, but this was translated by a translator who confused blinking with winking. Can you imagine? Winking is about blinking. Look with fixed eyes without blinking at a minute object with concentration till tears are shed. The teachers call this Trataka. Now what people do various things to do Trataka. Some very harmful. There are people who stare into the sun. There are people who dangle a needle on a thread in front of their eyeball, dangerously close, not allowing themselves to blink. And more benign is putting an object in front of you when you meditate, a candle, a burning candle, and concentrating on the flame, not allowing yourself to blink. But although looking into the sun is really bad, you go blind in the long term, dangling a needle in front of your eye is just playing a dangerous game. Meditation with a candle in front of you can work. There is no harm in doing that. But it's not about blinking with your eyes. This is the introduction of concentration, dharana. You have located the mental body. Now you have to shape the mental body, condition the mental body. And you do that by look with fixed eyes, not your physical eyes, but concentration. Fixed means concentrate, one pointed focus is looking with fixed eyes. Without blinking means without allowing distraction. At a minute object, which is nada. We took an advance on nada at the very beginning of the course, but nada is normally introduced at a later stage. With concentration until tears are shed. Have you noticed every time when you meditate, when the meditation is finished, that your eyes are moist? Always. Even if you meditate only for a couple of minutes, the eyes become moist till tears are shed. You don't need to look into a candle or into the sun or dangle a needle in front of your eyes without blinking. It's much more subtle than that. And it happens when you close your eyes and you actually concentrate, in our case, on nada. So you've located the mental body. And you focus on nada. One pointed focus. Without interruption, without blinking the eyes symbolically. What is mind control? The mind is a very fluid organ. And if you pay attention, you notice that there are a lot of thoughts going around that you can't stop. So inevitably, when you start focusing, concentrating on an object, which is nada in our case, not a physical object, there will be a thought. So instead of all your energy concentrated on the object you've chosen, nada, something draws your attention away. There can be literally sounds from outside, distractions, but it can also it can be something that keeps you busy about your work or the plans that you have tonight to meet friends and have dinner. Innocent things or serious things, there's always something going on. Normal people are not really aware of that. They just act upon those thoughts by impulses. But we sit there, we're not allowed to move, to blink, and we become acutely aware of what's going on there. With time, if you meditate, you become more and more aware of the subconscious thought processes that are going on. So you notice that you're not concentrated on nada anymore. There comes a point that you realize, hey, I'm thinking about something else. That is this arrow. Your energy is out, scattered. Here you try to concentrate all your energy, but now it's scattered because of the distraction. The moment that you are aware of it, you don't feel bad or disappointed in yourself. That's not important. What is important is simply that you do effort to return back to the object. And you do that again and again. And I would almost use the word relentlessly. In the beginning, it's very hard. The mind just does what it wants. But conditioning of the mind means that you become better and better at it. And the mind becomes more and more focused and less distracted. It's like with the physical body. If you exercise regularly, you are in a top condition. When you stop for a couple of weeks, your condition quickly deteriorates. The mind is the same. If you regularly meditate, your mind is in a top condition, very focused, with ability to focus very strongly, with very little distraction. And when distraction occurs, you're very efficient in dealing with it, going back to the object of choice, going back to nada in our case. So it's conditioning of the mind, which we will then use next week to start with pranayama, energy control. So this is the fourth of the kriyas. And with the fifth and the sixth, and there is actually a seventh that is not mentioned as one of the kriyas, but immediately follows, you will see. It comes to a conclusion. 35. Then Kapalabhati is described. Perform Rechaka, efflux, and Puraka, influx, rapidly, like the bellows of a blacksmith. This is called Kapalabhati and destroys phlegmatic diseases. Phlegmatic diseases are tamas diseases. But after you have done this, after you have gone through this, Kapalabhati is introducing Rechaka and Puraka, which are the two stages of pranayama. Inflow and outflow. So you've laid the foundation with this, become familiar with the flow of energy. You developed insight in the mental body and developed concentration, ability to concentrate. Then now you're going to do the fifth of the kriyas, which is outflow followed by inflow. And you do that repetitively. In the interpretation of the text, an error was made. It says, by repeatedly letting Shiva out via Chandra Bindu, Shiva goes out through Surya Bindu. That's an error. Be aware of that when you read the text. Highlight it or underline it or write the correct order. You let Shiva out via Surya Bindu and in through Chandra Bindu. You create an increased circulation of the Ida channel. It removes knots and obstacles which cause tamas diseases. Next is Kajakarani. Sutra 38. Then Kajakarani is described. Yogins draw up the apana to the throat and vomit the substances that are in the stomach. This act, the gradual practice of which brings all the nadis under control, is called Kajakarani by those who know Hatha Yoga. Now there are people who literally make themselves vomit. They just make themselves nauseous by thought and vomit and think that they are doing Kajakarani. But it mentions apana prana, which is the energy of Muladhara chakra. So this is about Shakti. You let Shakti up. Vomiting the substances means to expel it. So in the previous one, Kapalabhati, you play with Shiva energy. You let Shiva out, you let Shiva in, and you do that repetitively. In Kajakarani, you do the opposite. You do it with Shakti. You let Shakti in, and you vomit. You expel the Shakti. Shakti in, expel the Shakti. Pranayama is based on these two principles. Shiva in, Shiva out, Shakti in, Shakti out. That's how it works. And now something very interesting happens. First, Sutra 39 says, even Brahma, which is God, even Brahma and the other gods devoted themselves to the practice of pranayama because of the fear of death. So one should practice control of energy. People take this literally, fear of death. But gods are not beings that are born or die. God has an omnipresence in the universe. So that cannot be the meaning of this. Death, when there is talk of death in the scriptures, not only the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, it's not about physical death. Remember, there is no physical anatomy in yoga. It's all about energy. When there is mention of death, it's tamas. It's the death of the spirit. Spirit is not alive when you are in a tamas condition. Spirit is only there when there is prana or vital energy, ki or chi. That's what this is about. So why is there the mention of God then? That is an indication that you are dealing with an exercise that is important, that is impactful. Remember when I explained about why cows are declared holy and pigs are declared against the will of God? It has nothing to do with God. It is to impress upon people that you're dealing with something that is important. Do not violate it, in the case of the cow and the pig. In this case, and you see that throughout the holy scriptures, the original yoga books, when something important comes along, it is impressed upon you that it is divine. It just means it's important. If you don't understand that with the modern intellect that we have developed, you become skeptical and you think, what a nonsense, I don't believe in God. Unless you have some nuanced way of understanding what it really means. But then comes no, right, we've had 3 Kapalabhati. I skipped one, 34, Sutra 34. I was looking for the 7th one, but that is Gajakarani. I skipped Nauli. That one is important too. Sutra 34, sorry for the confusion. This Nauli, Sutra 33. Then Nauli is described. With the shoulders bent down, one should rotate to the right and left the stomach with the speed of a fast circling eddy. The Siddhas call this Nauli. If you look at YouTube, Nauli, you will see a yogi rolling the abdomen left and right. Literally, physical exercise. It's spectacular if you can do that. I did it in the past too. It's a massage of your intestines and it's good for digestion. It controls your waistline, etc. But it's not Nauli. Nauli is like Neti is designed to draw attention to the mental body, the mind. Nauli is designed to draw your attention to the source of all the energy in your body, which is Manipura chakra. And we have a very interesting experiment we have done throughout the years. That is, you remember this, I think. I tell the students to close the eyes, concentrate on Manipura chakra, and then with the hand, rotate. Clockwise, anti-clockwise. Clockwise, anti-clockwise. And you try to determine what feels auspicious and what feels inauspicious. If you have your eyes open and you're just connected to the outside world, you won't notice anything at all. But you're sitting there in silence with your eyes closed and you're experimenting with this. Then at the end of the meditation, I ask, which direction did it go? Did it go clockwise? Put up your hand. Did it go anti-clockwise? Put up your hand. And in all classes, 90% of the people guess right. They're not sure, but if they have to give it a guess, they say it is clockwise. And there is a small percentage of students that guesses that it's anti-clockwise. The right answer is clockwise. And now, very interestingly, throughout the years, Japanese and Korean students mention that their grandmom does this with babies that cry. Yeah? You know why? It makes the baby harmonious, so it stops crying. If you have a partner, and your partner is sad or upset or doesn't feel good, rub their belly, clockwise. It really, really works. They will love you for it. It really works. That's Neti, that's Nauli. But it's really about in Dutch you would say localizing. like we did with Neti, bringing the attention to the mental body, you now bring the attention to the source of all the energy. And with the next two, Kapalabhati Gajakarani, you then start pranayama, energy control. So that's what we will do. Don't need a drawing on the board for this, for Kapalabhati and Gajakarani. You can forget about the whole structure, but you just focus on those last two. Shiva out, Shiva in. Shiva out, Shiva in. Do not be concerned with where in your body that goes. This is just a distraction. Just try to, like you did with swallowing the piece of cloth, you try to visualize energy going down and energy going up again. And with the water being sucked up, you visualize energy going up and going down again, going out again. You do this now, focusing on one energy at a time. First Shiva, Shiva out, Shiva in, repetitively. And then Shakti in, Shakti out. And the remainder of the time, you concentrate on nada. Okay? 20 minutes.